Good afternoon, and welcome to the Rush. Welcome to the Rush this afternoon, and I want to thank all of you for joining the show this afternoon. It is 5:30, 5:31 in Georgetown, Guyana. It is June the 22nd, 22nd of June 2021. Folks, we like to start it here in the Rush the right way. Let's unpack. Thank you very much for staying tuned to the Rush this afternoon, and welcome to all those persons joining us from all across the region, internationally, the region, and right here in Guyana. My name is Randolph Critchlow, and I want to thank you for being a part of the program this afternoon. It has been 324 days, 324 days of this fraudulent administration. And we continue, folks. Every single day we come and report the matters of concern to Guyanese, the credible and valid information that you want to know, folks. We are letting you know it daily. Earlier, we had a bit of breaking news as the leader of the opposition responded to a false, fraudulent, fake, all of the F words. I don't want to say the other one, but all of the F words. The article by the Guyana Times claiming that somehow the leader of the opposition has now gone along with the vaccines. The vaccines that they continue to be sheltered and hiding behind something about. Why is it that they do not want to give us the information? The Guyanese people deserve the information. That's going to be our central theme this afternoon. We're going to be talking about the procurement of this Sputnik-V vaccine from this middleman, of course, at double the market price. We are going to be talking about this. We're going to be joined by MP Coretta MacDonald, and also we're going to be joined by MP Ricky Ram Sarup. I keep mixing them up. It's Ram Sarup. Ricky Ram Sarup. I'm going to be joined by Coretta MacDonald. Both MPs are going to be here to be discussing the fallout from Sputnik Gate, Vaccine Gate here in Guyana. But we continue, of course, folks, to let you know what is happening. We are going to also be discussing a number of other breaking news and breaking information as we see continued attempt by the PPP to cleanse the Guyana Elections Commission and put PPP lackeys in place, as we see Lowenfield Myers and Mingo being sent on administrative leave. This is the first step. This is the modus operandi of the PPP ever since they got into power. File charges, dirty up somebody's record, use that dirt to say that you are unfit to serve in the office. But we continue to see this is just another progression in the continued saga of PPP's creeping dictatorship that is now running. I believe that we are in a full-fledged dictatorship, and we shall look at all of the signs later down in the program. But folks, welcome. As usual, let us know where you are calling us from. Let us know where you're joining us from. Let us know where you're looking at the program from this afternoon. Let us give you your shout out, your usual shout outs that we do on the Rush. Thank you very much, all of those. We see hundreds of you already signed in. Share the live stream. We are live on Facebook. We are also live on YouTube for those persons who prefer to look at us on that platform. We are live. Yes, it is the Rush Hour. It is the Rush this afternoon, folks. We're going to be getting to some unpacking in a moment. We're going to be unpacking some credible and valid information. But let us know where you're joining us from. France is in the house all the way. Bonjour. For those persons who are looking at us from France, thank you very much. Dazzle Housing Scheme, New York, in the house. Virginia in the Rush. Thank you very much for folks joining us from Virginia, New Jersey, East Ranville. Thank you very much. Region number 9. Thank you very much for tuning in. New York. Right, New York City. Trinidad and Tobago. Welcome to the rush. I'd like to give our viewers their shout outs, because without you, we do not have a program. You are the ones who make this program every single time we're on. I was about to say every day, because sometimes we're not on every day. We apologize for those days that we missed, but life happens sometimes, and we know that you're understanding. We bring you the information. Houston, Texas, watching from London. Nabakalis, St. Lucia. Nabakalis, how you doing up there? St. Lucia, Maryland, Antigua, St. Martin, Lagrange, Cariveton. Keep them coming, folks. So this is your time. Before we get to the serious unpacking, this is your time to let us know where you're joining us from. As we say, welcome and share the live stream. Share the live stream. Atlanta, Georgia, in the house. Pennsylvania in the house, folks. All of our people in the diaspora, please share the live stream. I know you have a protest planned, and you have picketing action planned in your various districts there in the diaspora, and we thank you very much for that. Crown Heights, Brooklyn, folks. We're about ready to get to that place where we start the unpacking. Now, earlier today, the day broke with a news article. And let me see if I can share it. A news article that was quite interesting, because we know over the weekend, on Friday and Saturday, we saw the leader of the opposition quite clearly say, look, give us the information. On Friday evening, on Friday morning, he sent a letter to the fraudulent Minister of Health saying, these are the things that we want you to provide for a serial number and a number of different things. These are information that the health minister said that is really readily available. He said that this information is readily available, still unable to provide it. So on Friday evening, the leader of the opposition come on and call out the fraudulent administration. Call them out. He said, look, here is the information that the Guyanese people deserve. Why are you being so secretive about the information that concerns the people's health? So early this morning, we woke up to an article from the Guyana Times, and you don't expect anything better from the Guyana Times. That is so obvious. But what you expect, of course, some sort of decency. That's the word. The Guyana Times decided to make up their own story because, of course, the narrative, the leader of the opposition would have been calling out this fraudulent administration on their slothfulness, the lack of alacrity in the provision and the bringing forth of this information that will assuage the concerns of Guyanese, many of whom took the Sputnik-V vaccine, many of whom took the first dose, many of whom took both doses, some of whom are still waiting and are anxious to get it. But the concerns, because you bought this vaccine from a middleman, then we found out that you paid extra for it, and then we've also found out that the people that are involved in this sale of this vaccine are convicts. Specifically, one of them who is charged in Norway right now. So given all of that, the leader of the opposition quite rightly said, let us put the foot on the brakes a little bit until the Guyanese people are given the information that they can feel comfortable that this thing is safe for them. Additionally, we have seen reports from around the world that there are fake Sputnik-V vaccines being circulated and distributed. So to think that this is not a matter of serious concern is to pay scant regard to the lives and the health of Guyanese people. And the leader of the opposition quite clearly said, look, I am not going to play games with the Guyanese people's health. You, as the government, you have a responsibility to ensure that the information, that you're forthcoming with the information, so every Guyanese that took this vaccine want to take it, the relative and the friend take it, they can be sure that, listen, I am not putting myself in danger. So that is it. So instead of providing the information, I'm breaking this down for you before I invite my esteemed guest this afternoon. Before I invite them, I'm breaking down, instead of providing the information for the Guyanese people, the PPP, along with their news outfit, the Guyana Times, decided that they will put forward a fake story saying that the leader of the opposition makes a U-turn on vaccine claims. They sat down over the weekend. I'm telling you how idle these people are. They sat down over the weekend and wrote and edited a story that is totally fallacious, totally fictitious, totally fraudulent, totally fake. As I said, probably need some smaller F words to describe them, but we'll stay with those four. So they put this story out because the narrative, of course, is that they do not want to, they can't, apparently, because if by Friday, no, you won't provide the information for the Guyanese people, then something wrong. But folks, let me stop the story right there. And I'll invite our guests, our two honorable guests today, Mr. Ricky Ramsarup and Ms. Coretta, Honorable. Put Honorable before the people's name. Honorable Coretta McDonald and Honorable Ricky Ramsarup to the show. Welcome, guys. Welcome to the show this afternoon. I hope that you are okay. Let me see if I can change this. Welcome.
Hi, Randy. Good afternoon to you and good afternoon to your viewers. It's quite an honor to be here with you on this program. And once you're on this program, you are on the hot seat, if I can say that.
Well, it's quite cool where I am. I don't know. You need to put on your AC. Ricky, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, Randy, and I'm happy to be on your rush hour again.
Right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, guys, for being here. Right. So let's just jump right into it, folks. I know you've been keeping up with what is happening. I just gave the viewers there an outline of a timeline from Friday, when the leader of the opposition on Thursday, when he had his press conference and he highlighted these issues and called for a pause. To today, when we see this article in the Guyana Times, what are you? I mean, you were elected to represent the people, and I'll start with you, MP McDonald. What are your general thoughts on the PPP's position as it relates to this Sputnik-V vaccine?
Randy, the thing is, let me start off by saying this. Any project you're going to get involved in, as long as it involves the spending of taxpayers' money, then you ought to be able, you must account for that spending. As a matter of fact, there's a certain procedure that must be observed if you are going to spend taxpayers' monies. What we have seen here is, yes, we are not doubting this from the side of the opposition, that COVID came and COVID caught all of us unaware, knocked us off of our feet. Not only Guyana, but across the world. Yes, everybody scrambled here and scrambled there to ensure that you got vaccines for your citizens to aid in their recovery process. What we have, and we applauded this installed regime for going out there and ensuring that they were able to secure vaccines. Now, it was our thought that the vaccines that were procured by this installed regime, that those vaccines were vaccines that were approved by WHO. And I'm saying all of this to say this: any responsible government, any government that is worth its salt, any government that is caring would ensure that they go out there to secure vaccines that are safe for their people. You know what we found happening with this installed regime? They went out there. As a matter of fact, let me say to our viewers, we saw this sheik coming to this country. I mean, quite a lot of us were happy that here is it. You have a sheik coming to this country and he's going to be looking. We're going to have more investment coming to this country. Many more of our Guyanese citizens are going to be employed. But you know what? This sheik, just like Mike Pompeo, came with his own aim. He came here to do two things. One, to ensure that he gets his hand into the oil deal. That's one. And two, he came here to sell fake vaccines. Let me put that quote unquote fake vaccines to us in this country. As a matter of fact, he came here to talk about this. They talked about this vaccines and all of that. And when they got that arrangement fixed, we have seen it. The vaccines were being sold for $10, but we were here buying for $16 and $22. I mean, the coalition MPs, the opposition, we don't have a problem with how much you're going to spend to ensure that our people are safe. But when you have to pass through a middleman, and then when you're not sure about where this vaccine is coming from, as a matter of fact, it's not a case that this government is not, this installed regime, they're not sure. They very well know where it's coming from. But you know what? They are uncaring. They are corrupt. They are incompetent. And so they scrambled at anything to give to Guyanese people. You know what? I would have hoped, I'm hoping that the ministers, all of those ministers, that they would have taken this vaccine. You know what? They took different vaccines, but they're throwing anything at the Guyanese populace because they just don't care. You know what we've seen here? We have seen the Guyanese people, the health of this nation being thrown at the altar as a sacrificial lamb for an extra $5 or $7 or $8. That is what we have seen coming from this illegal regime. And you know why we can make that statement boldly? Because when the opposition leader got his information after doing his investigation, we started this in the National Assembly. We started asking about the monies, the extra monies that they're coming for. How are they going to be spent? What kinds of vaccines you're going to be giving? And you know what we got? Pass you by answers. Now, when the opposition leader was even more specific in his asking, after doing his investigation, you know what the Minister of Health said to him? And it's an embarrassment. He should be asked, he should resign from that position. His response to the opposition leader is that the information is available at the Ministry of Health. He can get it from there. Could you imagine that? Can you imagine that?
On this point,
non-entity.
On this particular point, I want to come to MP Diana Ryan. So there seems to be a straight attempt to hold back the information. And this is assuming that they have the information that is being requested. MP Ramsarup, what do you make of that? How do you square that circle that the public is calling for information and the government of the day seems reluctant to provide it? What do you make of that?
It is called corruption, corruption, corruption. That's all it spells. And I tell you what, and luckily, see, I want our viewers to understand that this is the reason why the prorogue Parliament for 98 days. Because they knew that when it comes to supplemental, it has to come to Parliament and there will be a number of questions to be asked. Mm-hmm. At first, let me go back from the beginning. When we have, as opposition, we asked to be on the task force. They refused to do that. In Parliament, the installed Minister of Health said that they got representation of all the regions. Now that is different. We're talking here about a task force, that we're talking about the real management. Because if you were there, then this question, everything would have been answered and asked. You understand? Would have been asked and answered. and we will be guiding them because we made it quite clear at the initial stage that we are going to make this a national issue, and we are going to support them in whatever mechanism or whatever way they're doing. But no, they want to do it alone because this is the reasons why they want to do it alone. So when the question was asked, of course, you have to praise the Minister of Health for this because he honestly answered the question. But when he answered the question, it raised a set of other questions, and that is where we started to question the where is it coming from, how is it purchased, the amount purchased rate, and so on, the prices. But Randy, on one hand, the installed head of state is saying that they have all the information, the sequence, the batch number, and all these things. And on the other hand, the Minister of Health is saying differently. He's saying that they don't have the amount of information and they cannot process, they don't know what is the ingredients and all these things of the vaccine and so on. But what is the purpose of WHO? That is the question. What if you're not sure? What is the purpose of WHO? Now, there's so much confusion that's going on with this thing here, Randy, and my friend Reto, is that these and like I don't know where to start, Randy, because let me start locally here. One, let me start locally first, and let me get it three phases. One is that we trust. All right, we didn't know what we were not on a task force, but we trusted them, and we took the vaccines without question, policing and so on, like everybody else will do. And let me tell you something: we are here, Kurt and I here. We are not telling people to stop taking the vaccine, but you must listen to what we are asking. It is not the vaccine, it is the way it was procured and the prices and all these things we are asking, right? The second one, regionally. Now, those who take Sputnik vaccine regionally, there are countries, the only Antigua and probably Bermuda is the one who, and Guyana is accepting Sputnik-V vaccine. The rest of the Caribbean is no. You understand? Let's go to international. Canada and the US already said that they're not cannot accept people with the Sputnik-V vaccine because it has not been approved. My brothers and friends here, listen to me. If you got relative overseas, this is the questions are coming now, and this is where it's got more complicated. I have family here who married overseas, took the Sputnik-V, and if they got to go to the United States, what is going to happen? Are you going to say that it's going to revaccinate it back?
That's a conversation that people need to have. The vaccines that were not approved by WHO. And let me come there, MP, because the government, of course, was quick to say that the opposition is contributing to vaccine hesitancy. But I want to ask a question. If you were asked to provide information, if you were secretive in the first place about the deals that you're making with this vaccine, we didn't know that the Sheikh came in to sell vaccines at double the price. We didn't know that he procured it, and he basically making a profit off of this. Nobody knew this. This was the usual PPP modus operandi. Now we know that we got vaccines that are not WHO approved, but now the public is in a place where they are skeptical. But you don't want to answer the questions and provide the information, contributing to the same thing that you are saying that the opposition is doing. Go ahead.
Randy,
Randy, let me say first of all.
Yes, let's hear. Let's go, Coretta.
Go ahead.
All right. Yes, I was just going to say, any investor coming into this country, it should not be secretive. And we've been asking those questions all along. Why did Mike Pompeo come to this country? What was the visit about? We can't get answers. As a matter of fact, the places where Mike Pompeo went, everyone was tight-lipped about it until you saw pictures of the event after it had already happened. Now, what is the secrecy about? This is Guyana. We are Guyanese. We live here. We are the ones who turn the wheels of production. Why are you hiding the facts from us? And so the facts have got to be hidden because of all of these corrupt transactions. And this is nothing new, Randy. And let me say this to the viewers. This is nothing new with the PPP. Every time the PPP come around, expect corruption. And what is more glaring about it is the manner with which they carry out these transactions, and then boom, it backfires on them. Now look at what has happened. We saw just last week, we had the leader of the opposition asking all of these questions. As a matter of fact, he went public with it, where we were encouraging citizens, because citizens were very skeptical about taking this vaccine after all that you've been hearing in the media, both locally and overseas. Persons were skeptical. But we went out there, the opposition leader and a few of the members of parliament, or might be all of the members of parliament, opposition members, took the vaccine. Some of them took the Sputnik too. And we went out there. As a matter of fact, it is on record where the installed Minister of Health complimented the leader of the opposition and members of parliament, opposition members of parliament, who would have taken the vaccine and who have been encouraging citizens to take the vaccines. And look how he's stupid. I know, there's a little slang that says, when you're big, you must have sense, but he ain't got none. On one hand, he's complimenting the opposition leader and the MPs. And on another hand, he is castigating him. I don't know which world he's in. But I'm saying all of this to say, the PPP are about corruption. And anywhere they can find corrupt people and shady business, they would rush there. And let me clear the air. The opposition leader has never made an issue about the vaccines that we have procured. He has never made an issue about it. What the opposition leader is saying is this: we have recognized that the vaccines have been sold for $10. How is it you are buying it for so much? How is it? Explain that to us. That is all he was asking. But look how God works in a mysterious way. The Prime Minister of Trinidad, the Honorable Dr. Keith Rowley, he was having a press conference where he was informing the nationals of Trinidad and Tobago, because questions have been asked of him. Why is it that Trinidad not taking so many vaccines? Why they're not buying more? And he was showing them a table. Look how many vaccines we have brought into Trinidad. We have brought in so many. The only other CARICOM nation that is above us is Guyana. But hear what? Guyana did what we would not have, what we wouldn't do. And this is what Guyana did. He didn't try to castigate the installed Prime Minister, President, or Minister of Health. All he was giving to his nationals is facts, where he said, we wouldn't do what Guyana did. Guyana bought vaccines that were not approved. Now, if you know what happened after then, is that Dr. Rowley got a good cuss out. But you know what they didn't bargain for? They didn't bargain for the response that they would have gotten from Dr. Rowley. And it's amazing, and it's disgusting, and it's dishonest. When an installed regime could go out there to put the lives of citizens at risk and feel comfortable about it, and then they turn the whole story around to say that the opposition leader is doing this and he is irresponsible. They like talk about who's being reckless, and you have that girl there, Sitira girl, who was responsible for education, and she's just jumping all around the place, getting involved in health, getting involved in this, getting involved in business that doesn't concern her, when she's supposed to be manning what is happening in education. But I want our public, the general public out here, to know the opposition is saying you can take any other vaccine other than the Sputnik, until we would have gotten clarification on a few things. One, the batch and serial numbers of those vaccines, the kind of storage, the transportation that was used, and the timing in which it was used to transport the vaccines from where they bought them from to here, and how we store those vaccines. Those are all the questions we're asking. And we said to put a hold on it until we can have the answers for this particular batch of vaccines. That's all we're asking for. And that is what they're refusing to give to us. Why? If you don't have shady business, then you'd feel comfortable releasing the information. But as long as you get involved in shady business, then you wouldn't want to release those kinds of information. But I want to say that our Guyanese people are sensible people, and we are not going to accept any kind of fraudulent business, any kind of corrupt business, more so any business that will put the lives of us at risk, we are not going to accept it.
Well, MP Ricky said it. He said it's corruption. It is corruption why we can't find the information. And as you raise an issue, I want to show our audience a video which points out the fraudulent Minister of Health the night after the press conference, because the press conference really hit them hard. So they come bring Kwame on the press conference at China 11 to say that the opposition leader is being reckless. When 2 days before, the opposition leader was in parliament and he was complimenting the opposition leader. I want to play that video for our audience and we'll come back on the other end. Let me see. We'll come back on the other end. Let's hear this video. Right.
He is instigating them to do is not to take the vaccine and to put their lives at risk. And this is quite unfortunate for someone who is in the leadership position to take such a stance and to deliberately endanger people in this country. I have heard the leader of the opposition, the Honorable Joseph Harmon, the Honorable Kemraj Ramjatan, the Honorable Karen Cummins, and other members of Parliament on the opposition benches, also calling on people to take their vaccines. I would like to applaud and recognize their efforts and to encourage them to continue to spread the word about vaccination.
This is the kind of stuff we got to put a stop to.
That's the kind of stuff we got to put a stop to. Folks, let me just say this. Let me just say this. This highlights very clearly the you know, I used to term it as bad faith politics. But it's not even politics because this is the lives of Guyanese people. As the Minister of Health, instead of coming on NCN, this is directly after the leader of the opposition's press conference and saying, Guyanese, do not fear. We understand the legitimate concerns, given now that you have some information circulating in the media, but let me present you with the facts. These are the batch numbers. This is where we got it from. These are the evidence to show that this thing is safe. MP Ramsarup, how do we go forward from here now? How is it that Guyanese can have confidence in this administration that they are doing the right thing?
Well, my friend, you have to come clean. So rightfully said that we have to bring forward information and answer the questions. You have to get the guidance from the WHO. You have to work with the World Health. That is a key and that is a gateway for you to be successful. You have to incorporate the opposition members on your task force so we can work to this thing together, so that we can build the confidence of the people. They have to understand that we represent more than 50% of the people here. They have to understand that we also care for the entire Guyanese people. We are speaking on behalf of the Guyanese populace. We are not talking about one side or the other side. This is a national issue. We already make it quite clear that we are going to be taking this as a national issue. Yeah. That is why we all trusted and went and took the vaccine.
Yes.
But we are not. But you have to come here and tell us, look, this is a country, and I think this is a backdoor, Randy. This is a backdoor for not buying from the United States. If you're paying so much money for the Sputnik-V that has not been, what shall I say, been approved, why don't you buy? Why didn't you go and buy the Johnson & Johnson or the Moderna or the Pfizer's?
Well,
exactly.
Well, the claim was that the vaccines were not available in the world market and the first world countries, and we saw this also in Ghana, and we're hoping to talk to some officials from Ghana. But we saw the Minister of Finance in Ghana saying, "Look, well, the good guys, we didn't get any vaccine from the good guys." That's how he put it. And these people came, the people from the UAE came, the Sheikh came, and they said, "Look, we have this vaccine." And you know what Guyanese would understand, MP MacDonald, is that nothing is wrong with paying that amount for vaccine. Nothing is wrong. But it is how it was done. I don't have a problem. As a Guyanese, I don't have a problem if they had to pay a $50 fee. But come to the parliament, lay the information to the opposition, say, look, we are going to these particular people and we are paying this amount. So the due diligence could have been done. And we would have realized, you know what? Well, we understand, but this man here is a problem. Don't hide behind the back door and do this deal and then come. Because I really do not have a problem with the amount. And I'm sure that you as representatives don't have a problem with the amount. But when you're buying it from a shady middleman and you're doing it under the table, you have to ask questions. Yes, MP. And before I go, I want to talk about the fact that they have still not answered the question by journalist Gordon Mosley. That math question that he put to them, he said, look, you're saying that you 1,000 vaccines you gave out, but you still run out. But you said to us that you collected 200,000. What happened with the rest?
200,000, yeah.
What happened with the rest? So these are all questions that guys have to answer. And they have contributed more than anything else to the vaccine hesitancy with their reluctance to be forward and come clean, as MP Ricky said. Go ahead.
Randy, I've commented on Gordon post and said, you know what, as media, he's always saying what is fretting you, and guys, sometimes I like him for that. He's very realistic. He's frank, and I said, you know what is fretting me is that the journalists there are not digging deep. Yeah, and bam, within 2 hours, Gordon set up the same post that you're talking about, and that is what we want. You ought to be digging deep as you can, and we had an entire parliamentary questions that lays on from the Sputnik vaccine to the some kind of regional task force of police that want to create. We can take another day. We can talk about that one. But you have to be asking these questions. If the ministers them are ducking from these questions. Yeah, you understand? Yeah. You have to be asking these questions and dig deep and research. They have a right to answer to you.
Definitely.
And let me quickly yesterday, that there was a phone call between the Secretary of State and the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and there's a big quick response from the Ambassador Lynch here about that phone call, but yet she can't speak nothing about the Sputnik vaccine here. Yeah. Why is she so silent about it?
Yeah, good question.
It is good question. Saying it is a way to get into Russia, but they don't want to come forward and say it. They don't want to come forward in a point blank and say, so they come to the back door to go to Russia.
Yeah, definitely. MPs, I'm happy that we're laying this information out on the table and letting Guyanese people know exactly what played out, because there's a lot of propaganda going out there. Let us switch topics a little bit. I know we're going to come back to it because I want the viewers to have a say in a moment, and hopefully, viewers, you can get your questions ready for the MPs. Give you the opportunity to ask them some questions as we talk about this vaccine gate. But let's just switch gears a little bit to something that broke this afternoon, as we saw the GCOM sending Lowenfield, Myers, and Mingo on administrative leave. I'm just going to put that out there and start with MP Curtin MacDonald. Given all that we saw leading up to the eventual fraudulent announcement after the recount, what are your thoughts on the PPP's movement towards cleansing of the Guyana Elections Commission?
Randy and our viewers, we know that the PPP, they cannot stand up to persons who are professionals. And so anyone who performs out there as a professional, they would get rid of you. And that is what they are seeking to do with GCOM. They are seeking to have persons there whom they can manipulate, who they can ask to jump high, jump low, and duck under. But they know fully well with Myers, Mingo, and Keith Lowenfield, they can't run that by them. We have seen the manner with which they have been able to manipulate the chairman of GCOM And we have seen her swaying from side to side with regards to what exactly is supposed to happen when during that whole elections process, when the ballots were being counted, and even during the recount process. As a matter of fact, we saw there the opposition leader Barra Jagdeo then and the president, Mr. Granger, signing a document that had 6 processes that were supposed to be completed. All we saw completed in the recount were 2 processes, or I think maybe 1. And the others were left to go by the wayside. And here is it, we are seeing the strength of persons who are professionals. We saw Keith Lowenfield saying to her, I cannot put forward a report like that you're asking me to put forward. This is exactly what transpired, and this is the report I'm going to produce. We saw Keith Lowenfield producing the report according to what transpired after the recount, or coming out of the recount. But that is not what Claudette Singh wanted. That is not what Jagdeo wanted. That is not what Ifran Ali wanted. And so she directed Keith Lowenfield as to how his report should be laid out at their meeting, when they would have had the meeting. We saw the commissioners coming out and speaking out about what happened during the recount, and with regards to that report that was being placed before them, and the report that was asked to be the report that he was directed to produce. This is how the PPP operates. They cannot walk a straight line. And anyone who seems to be walking that straight line and would say to them in their faces, I will not do this because I'm a professional, they would get rid of you. And so here is it. We're seeing Myers, Mingo, Lowenfield, and so many other members of staff from GCOM, they have been placed before the courts. Now, their cases have not yet been tried, but the PPP have already found them guilty. And so they've now moved another step where they're sending them home on administrative leave. But look at what is happening here. In the police force, the Guyana police force, we saw the actions of the chairman of the Police Service Commission, where he acted according to the regulations of the police, the Forces Act, where he said persons who have cases against them, they cannot be promoted. And you saw what happened? The chairman has been sent a letter. He has been suspended because Ifran Ali and Jagdeo, the whole group of crooks, they want to have their persons there heading the Guyana police force. They have not said up to now, all of those persons who have cases before them, they have not yet said to this nation that these people will not be promoted, but they have encouraged them to go to court to file an injunction to stop for the promotion on halt. They have removed them from where they were and put them in senior positions to act. But here is it with Keith Lowenfield, with Roxanne Myers, and with Mingo, you have sought to send them home. Double standards. And you know what? If you look at what is happening, if you look at the trend of what is happening, you see clearly that the PPP is out to stagnate one race of people, but they're here, on the other hand, to push and to uphold and to uplift another group of people. And it is as straight as that. Anybody who seeks to be professional, they push you in a corner. If we look at the manner with which the dismissals were done across this country, for no reason at all, some persons were sent home. What have they done? They haven't done anything. They never had a warning letter. They never had a senior official or supervisor within the ministry having to talk to them about something that they did not do according to the conditions of work. But this is what the PPP is about. They are corrupt, they are incompetent, and they can't work with people who are professionals.
MP, thank you for that. I will go to MP Ricky now, because I want you to have a bit to say before we move to our Have Your Say segment. You have your say now. I am wondering in which country in the world would you open up over 40 box, 49 boxes, and see only ballots and nothing to verify or confirm where these ballots came from. And add those ballots, thousands of ballots to the overall figure and say X party won. Which country? Guyana is not a real place. I am telling you, which country?
Can't be a real place. Can't be a real place.
That is the circumstance under which the PPP is sitting in government now, fraudulently. Your thoughts, MP?
Now you wanted to charge somebody for a matter. You want to charge somebody for a matter. You want to dismiss them. You want to do all sort of things with them, and you're still sitting in the government side. What is wrong with that? What is wrong with these people? This is just a racist. This is a racist side that is coming out here. You understand what I'm telling you? This is a racist card that is coming out here, and we want the international community to see this.
Yeah,
you understand? Because cannot these people here these people here were working according to the Constitution and according to the GCOM Act.
Yes. Yes.
They were acted based on that.
And I'm waiting to see the persons who they put to replace them. We're waiting patiently.
Yes.
As you said, yes. All this attention is the international community. Go ahead, MP.
Yeah, so they're just going around in circle and like headless chicken. They wanted to prove their point that they have won the election free and fair. They are sitting there on the recount, brother. They are sitting there on the recount information. And as Coretta said, they only took one clause of the recount order 60. What happened to the valid vote only? They had the documentation. What happened to that? This was in the views of all the international community. Is so bad they want the oil?
Yeah. Definitely.
This oil here, and they're flopping up the entire environment and this thing. Sorry to speak like so arrogant on this matter here, but sometimes it drives you nuts. They've been protecting this.
You don't worry about what you say. You have your say.
Listen to me. Every day I wake up here is like you want to run. You understand? Because there's so many issues, and if not environment, it's the judicial system. If not the judicial system, it's the police. If not the police, it's the army, $1 billion. If it's not the army, it's GWI. If not GWI, it's GRE. If not GRE, it's GPL. If not GPL, it's Guy Oil. What the hell is going on in this country?
Yep.
And then you got flood on the Behang, and you get stage 2 national disaster. People are so blind not seeing here, Randy. I saw you blowing up on this thing here, but this thing is driving you nuts. Is this how we govern a country? Is this how we manage a country?
Yeah. This is the PPP regime for you, MP. This is what Guyanese have been enduring for the last 324 days. You know, I keep a running count of it. 324 days of total chaos, confusion, and shambles. It's shambolic. That is what it is. Confusion, powder being sprinkled. From early days, from shooting the squatters at the back of Success and flooding them out. This is the administration right away. They haven't changed. They went in timeout for 5 years. They colluded with some people to force their way back in power fraudulently and continue to put their knees on the necks of Guyanese people. And it really doesn't matter which part of the country you are, you're feeling it, especially those areas that they perceive voted for solidly for the AP and UAFC. It is a sad situation. Sad situation.
It is, Randy. It is. Randy, when a country could be governed by a man who had 19 fraud charges against him. He had fraud charges for one, Dr. Roger Luncheon, giving him land at really undervaluing the land he sold to him in Pradoville too. The same thing he did for Priya Manik Chand, bought land from Ifran Ali. She bought land that was undervalued. And you know what she did in turn? If she paid, and I'm just going to use some figures here, if she paid $2 for a land that was worth $20, she went outside of that and she sold it for $100. Those are the people who are governing this country, and they want to talk about who's reckless and who's shameless and who corrupt and who are gangsters. Those are the gangsters. Efren Ali sold land to Barrett Jagdeo, where he's living right now. Prime land. He sold to him for a meager sum. And the ordinary man and woman in this country, they have to pay millions upon millions for a piece of plot. Not one that is in prime, that is not a prime spot. All over the knockabout spot they're giving them. Yeah. And you have to pay millions of dollars. And here is it. These corrupt crooks are buying these lands way under the value that they're being sold for. And this is not anything that we're making up. This is public knowledge because he has been charged, and you can get those records from the Georgetown Magistrates Court. He was charged 19 fraud charges, and that's the man who's heading this country today. That's the man. Where else can we find these things happening? Guyana is not a real place. By the time they got in here, we saw the big scandal with the T-shirts from the one, what's his name at local government there?
The tin pot dictator, Dharamlal.
Dharamlal. You saw the confusion there with the corruption, with the T-shirts being bought from his son, who got a small store in Giftland Mall. Then we had the Guy Oil scandal. We had the one at GRA. We got the one at Water. We got GDF. Everywhere the PPP is, you find corruption. And look, who in the thick of things at GWI? Sheikh Bash again. When Sheikh Bash was at housing, we had those same kinds of confusion. He moved to education, the same kinds of confusion. Now he went to GWI before, confusion and corruption there. He is back at GWI, more confusion and more corruption. And these are the kinds of people who want to tell other people, oh, their eyes black and their eyes are blue, when they got the corruption and incompetence right in front of their faces that they don't see. But you know what? They're very good spin doctors. They know how to turn the truth into what they want to make it and to sell it out there. But we would have to continue to let our viewers know that they are the sanctimonious gangsters. Because if you look at the persons who are their friends, the one Golden from Jamaica, persons should be asking him why he had to step down. Why he had to step down as prime minister, because he was involved in drugs with his friend Duda Coke. That is why he had to step down. And that is the man who's friend with Jagdeo. Look at the one in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Everything he puts a block to. Everything. Nobody can talk about him. As prime minister of that country, every single election was led with corruption, confusion, and stealing of elections. And those are the people who want to tell Guyanese people how we must operate here and what we must do. Look at the one in Barbados, the same thing. And these are the people who are now pretending as though they are saints. Look, let us people get from here. You know, I would hope that one of these days, Guyanese people would get so vicious and so rebellious that we would block the airport if we hear somebody like Maya coming into this country, or Gonzalez coming to this country, or that thing that is called Golding coming to this country. These are the people who cause the confusion in here. But you know what? God doesn't sleep. And those whom he doesn't put in a corner to sit down, he put them on the ground. Watch and see what is happening. I will say no more on that.
And I'm happy that you ended it, because we want to give our viewers an opportunity to have their say this afternoon. But before we do that, as we just recap, folks, if you're now joining us, we're talking about vaccine gate in Guyana. We know of the confusion with the Sputnik-V vaccine. We're joined by Honorable Coretta MacDonald, MP, and Honorable Diana Ramsarup. I just call you Ricky, man. You always got me tongue tied up. Ramsarup. Ricky.
Perfect.
And we're discussing the PPP continued hiding, right, of the information that is being sought about the Sputnik-V vaccine from this middleman that is the unapproved, overpriced vaccines. And folks, we saw the shake coming to Guyana. We saw the shake coming to Guyana, We saw the shake through the report in Ghana and see them going around the world in Pakistan and in Iraq, and they are selling these vaccines at overpriced amounts. Vaccine and COVID-19 is big business. And I want to share with our viewers a little video that shows you the amount of billionaires that would have been created due to this pandemic. At the other end of this video, we'll have our viewers call in. So have your questions ready. But let's take a look at this particular video, and we'll talk about the implications and how Guyana has been caught up in this same sort of thing in terms of persons making billions of dollars from vaccine sales. Let's see if we can take this video.
This pandemic has destroyed livelihoods, but for some, it has come as a blessing. According to Forbes, a total of 493
Sorry, I think we're having some
have emerged in just 1 year. 493.
technical difficulties. Yes.
Companies fighting the Wuhan virus, and 9 of them have made a fortune directly through vaccines. They're being called the vaccine billionaires. Who are these individuals? How much are they worth? There's a report.
COVID-19 can be characterized as a pandemic.
Folks, hold on.
March 2020. World Health Organization declared the Wuhan virus.
We are having some technical difficulties with the video there. We wouldn't be able to show it. So what we'll do right now is jump straight into our segment because we are looking at the time. We have a few more minutes of program time, and I want to give our viewers an opportunity to have their say. So let's jump right into that segment. Right. Have your say time, folks. Have your say time. The numbers on the screen. Let's just. People are calling. The number is 618-7321-618-7321. If you're going to call, ensure that you let your number be shown because we won't be taking calls from unknown numbers. Folks, call in. Have your say this afternoon. We're talking about the vaccines. We're talking about all the things happening in Guyana. This is your opportunity. You have MPs, 2 MPs here. MP Ricky Ramsaroop and MP Coretta McDonald. If you have any questions to them, this is your opportunity for the next few minutes. 618-7321. Have your say this afternoon. We think we have a caller on the line already. Caller, good afternoon. Welcome to the Rush. Have your say. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. Good afternoon. Hello.
From Biden administration.
Hold on. You need to start over. You're rushing the rush. You can't rush on the rush, but don't rush too much. Have your say.
Don't rush.
Seeing as we have a boost from the Americans, from Biden administration to the PPP, I think now is the time that we come out and don't let this thing die away. Let me come out. If it's 1 hour a day with the placard, 1 hour a day in front of the American embassy, in front of the presidential office, and the other offices that we think is viable, we go there and we put out that, get the placard 1 hour every day. And it's going to beef up and it's going to be more better for us.
All right. Thank you very much, caller. And that caller there saying, of course, people need to come out, call to action, MPs. But we these people have been calling, and of course I've been saying, folks, you can't just be keyboard warriors. When that time is called and people are ready to go on the streets, you gotta be ready. Good afternoon, caller. Welcome to the Rush. Have your say.
Hi, Randy. I have a big problem with the vaccine.
All right, go ahead.
My son took the first dose of the Sputnik. He was forced by his workplace.
What?
Yes. And now he got the second dose to take, and it's the Sputnik, and he was forced. He took it against his will because they say he would be sent home, not he, all who ain't take it.
No, this is very serious. MPs, we're hearing there this call is saying that her son was forced by his workplace to take the vaccine. We know that this is not right. Would you be willing to say where he works?
Banks DIH.
Banks DIH.
Yes.
Wow. So I'm hoping that our MPs are taking note of this. This is quite concerning.
And now we got to take the second dose. Is like, I don't need to take this vaccine. What is going to happen?
Yeah. Thank you very much for that. MPs, you want to comment on that? Well, let me just say that I have another call. I have another call. The caller is gone. So go ahead, MPs.
Yes, I mean it's really against the Constitution and your human rights to be forced upon the vaccine. People to force to take the vaccine. It's really against that. He can in turn take some legal actions against that because they have enough grounds to cover it. It was supposed to be voluntary. Yeah. You understand?
The Minister of Labor came out and said that workplaces are not supposed to force persons.
Correct, because he knows what he's talking about. He knows what he's talking about. And you cannot, I mean, we know the importance and we know the death rate of the younger people. We understand that. But this is a report. This is why we are asking to have the right information about the vaccine to be published so that people can stop the damn thing.
Yeah.
You understand me? And if you don't do that, then you're gonna have these things. People are gonna resist it. People are gonna trust you.
Yeah. You have another caller.
You cannot be holding back information, and you cannot force people to take it, man. This is wrong.
Yeah. Caller, good afternoon. Welcome to the Rush. Have your say.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. You need to speak up a little more for me.
Yeah, good afternoon to you, ladies and gentlemen.
Go ahead.
You know, what I would like the coalition to do is to print some flyers, circulate them in the country, let people know worldwide what is going on in this country. You know what I mean? Like people like Sarah Lynch, is Madam Chairperson for the GCOM, and the woman at the court. Let people know what's going on. Print flyers. If you don't want to go out there and do your demonstration, right? Print flyers. Let it circulate in the country. Print thousands of flyers. Let it circulate in the country.
All right.
Let people know what's going on.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Right. We were having another caller there. Again, call to action, and we're following the comments in the comment section for persons who are not getting a chance to call in. You can give, if you have a question for the MPs, of course, send it through in the comment. We'll read the question. See if we can find some question. We give you a few more minutes, folks, to have your say. We are joined this afternoon by two MPs, the Honorable Coretta MacDonald and the Honorable Ricky Ramsarup. Ricky, I am tired trying to pronounce your last name, Ricky. Let's take this other call. Hold on. Caller, good afternoon.
Good night.
Good night.
Is the show still on?
Yes, go ahead. Have your say. You on the Rush?
Yes, listen, I'm going to say what I have to say. Now with this vaccine, I was a nurse for years. And the way how they acquire this Sputnik vaccine is real, it's questionable. Now with the vaccine, when I used to work, we used to be issuing vaccines. You had to have vaccines in fridges that were just meant for vaccines. I did something on Facebook about vaccines yesterday. Anyway, for the public, you have vaccines that were to be stored in the freezing compartment, the door of the fridge, first, second, even onto the third shelf. Now, I live on the West Coast, and I could remember clearly Saturdays I would go to the market, Lenore Market. On a few Saturdays I went, and I noticed people going into Hindu mosques, men mainly. And when I found out they were going to have the vaccines, when I heard that, I was a bit taken aback, because if you're issuing vaccines, you're supposed to have them on cold storage. If the code, so it said the vaccine got to be stored at plus 5 degrees Celsius, and the vaccine store higher than that or lower than that, the vaccine is no good. When you administer the vaccine to the person, you cause more harm than good. Now the PPP jumped down on Mr. Harmon, claiming that he was wrong. They even jumped down on the Trinidadian Prime Minister. Those two men were right to let the world know about the vaccine. And why must Guyana buy vaccines from an unknown person? Now, I have been following COVID a long time. Before it became COVID, I saw it happening in China. China eradicated the whole area in the place, their province. And China was a country that only used to allow one pregnancy to a couple. And since they killed out all them people in China there, they said that they could get 3 children. Now, when this virus started to hit America, and Trump begged China to give them the key component to make a vaccine to lull down this thing, China refused. The doctors, the scientists who made COVID in a lab, made it in a lab, because in May of 2019, an announcer, journalist, Shartuman, she always used to say, China gonna be the superpower. And she announced and showed that it had a mysterious illness affecting the birds in China. That was like meat bird. They started to throw them away. Then eventually, she said they don't know if this thing gonna cross. That was in May. By the time October, it crossed into humans and it became widespread. And now with what's going on there, we have got to be careful, and with the type of people that the PPP are who trying to kill out the black people to take over Guyana, we have got to stand up and be up.
Caller,
yes, sir.
We want to give the others an opportunity. We appreciate your point and your history on the COVID, and we thank you very much for your warning, right? But let's give the others an opportunity. Thank you very much for your contribution.
All right. Bye-bye.
Yeah. We run the risk of going on there. But MPs, we're going to take about one more call, and then I'll give you an opportunity to have your final say in the show. Let's give one other person an opportunity to call in. Folks, have your say before we wrap up the show this afternoon, this evening. I think we have one other person on the line, and we'll take this as our final call. Caller, good afternoon. Welcome to the Rush. Have your say.
Hi, good afternoon, Randy, and your guest.
Yes, good afternoon.
Randy, I'm calling from Barbados. Now, first thing first, it's true that the employers are forcing workers. My son, he worked with Sterling. He's asthmatic, and they threaten him if he take the injection, they're going to knock him off.
This is Sterling Products.
My sister work with Pretty Paul. Fisheries at Magdoom. They force them to take the injection, and indeed my nephew working at banks, and the same thing, and they all have to take the injection. If not, they lose their job. Now my thing is, if now we know that this is fake vaccine, I think by right we should come out, bring out the people in the street and let the world.
Well, let me just add a little caveat there in terms of correction. We don't know that it's a fake vaccine. The leader of the opposition said the information, the government needs to be forthcoming with the information, right? He never said that the vaccine was fake. We know that we bought it from a middleman and who is a bit dubious, but the leader of the opposition, again, let's make it clear, never said that the vaccine was fake. But he's asking for questions to be answered about when and where we got these vaccines, right?
Okay.
Great. But thank you for the information.
Okay. Right. Thank you.
Thanks. And folks, we want to make it clear that the leader of the opposition never said that the vaccines were fake. We do not want that to be going out there. But questions need to be answered. MPs, I want to give you, obviously the people, from the calls, they're concerned, they're frustrated. Let me give Ricky the first opportunity to add one more thing to the show. Go ahead. Hold on, sorry, Ricky, your mic. I got you. Go ahead.
Yeah. This has been a really tough time for Guyana since the PPP took over this country here. This COVID thing is real and it's serious. They still have an opportunity, Randy, to come to the table and be honest and frank. They still have an opportunity to engage opposition for directions. They still have an opportunity to talk with us to ensure that we take this as a national issue. So we are calling and asking them to be honest and frank with the Guyanese people. They have to bring to the table all information that we requested and asked for. There's still time to do this here because this COVID here is going to stay here for a while. So we still have to address it despite what we do or what we see. But if we continue to do this here, it's going to pose trouble for us.
Right. Thank you very much, MP Ricky. We have one other call on the line before we let Kurt jump in for her one more thing. Caller, go ahead. Have your say.
Oh, I'm calling with regards to the protest. I'm wondering, can they protest Sarah Lynch, Speaker of Office, and the judiciary? The placard?
Well, all of them need protesting. All of them. All of them need protesting, caller. And I know the persons have been calling for this, right? But thank you very much for that. I will definitely, all of these fraudulent people. Thank you.
Okay.
Great.
Thanks for listening.
Right.
Bye-bye.
Right. MP McDonald, one more thing, your opportunity.
Randy, I would just want to close by saying, one, the coalition is in support of our people being vaccinated, but we want to have answers to the Sputnik. And so we're asking that the use of that be suspended. We're also asking about, we're questioning the storage facility that is being used to store all of the vaccines. Let me say this, all of the vaccines. Because it is like the nurse was just saying, if you don't store the vaccine properly, then it can do more harm than good to your body. And here we're talking about the lives of our citizens. Thirdly, I want to say the PPP government, this installed regime, they are in shambles. They don't know what to do with regards to COVID. If we turn our minds back to what transpired before August 2nd of 2020, we saw that from March to August 2nd, we had 21 deaths. From August 2nd to December of 2020, we reached the 100 figure. And this is saying clearly to us that the installed Minister of Health and his two advisors, who themselves were ministers of health, they don't know what they're about. If you don't know, the good book says, seek and he shall find. Ask and it shall be given unto you. We have the know-how. We have the solution to this whole COVID business. Ask and we will assist you. This whole thing about COVID is not the coalition business. It's not the PPP business. It's not nobody's business. This whole thing about COVID, it wasn't made by, or let me say it this way, it wasn't made by APNU, nor was it made by the PPP. This whole issue with COVID is upon all of us. And therefore, it means we have to take a national effort to deal with COVID. As we speak, our numbers in terms of deaths are 451, I think it is, because yesterday it was somewhere 449 or somewhere there, or might be a little higher than 451.
Yeah,
that's what. So with this, with the addition of 4, it takes us way up to 455. That's what our numbers are as of today. 459 persons have lost their lives due to recklessness of this installed regime.
Yes,
we are a population of just about 750,000 persons. And you check it. If we've already lost 455 persons, you check to see where we are going. Are we saying that the lives of Guyanese citizens doesn't matter? Is that what the PPP government is saying to us? If so, then the opposition would have to let them understand that every life matters. Whether you're Afro-Guyanese or Indo-Guyanese or Amerindian or Chinese, whatever your nationality is, you are Guyanese at the end of the day, and we are concerned about the loss of lives that we are receiving every day. And I can say further than that. Yesterday, we saw coming from Region 9, a 22-year-old teacher succumbed to COVID from Sand Creek Secondary School. She succumbed to COVID. In Region 6, and these are just ones that I'm picking out. In Region 6, we saw one of our most vibrant head teachers. She is retired now, Mistress Norma Stewart, losing her life to COVID. She worked as head teacher, and then she worked with the Cyril Potter College of Education at the New Amsterdam Center, losing her life senselessly. And we have seen a 17-year-old student who lost his life to COVID. Right there in Region 9, we have students who are infected with COVID. We have seen this doctor, I think it's Dr. Michael Marks, who is fighting for his survival. We saw Vice Chairman of Region 10 dying to COVID. Are we going to lose many more? Somebody gotta get serious.
I think you bring up another point that we need to deal with on another show, because school is slated to be reopened in September. And of course, we had Mondale Smith, MP, Vice Chair, Douglas Gittins, and a number of other persons well known. So I think that's a conversation we need to have in another show. I have a caller holding online for one lucky caller that has been waiting. Let's just have her before we go. Caller, go ahead. Have your say.
Hello, good afternoon, Ms. Coretta and MP Ramson.
Good afternoon.
So my question is to Miss McDonald. What would happen to the teachers who don't take the vaccines when school reopen? What would happen to them? Can you show some light on that? And the next question is, those people that are forced to take those vaccines, they should all come together and file the lawsuit to the International Court of Justice because their human rights are being abused.
Yeah.
That's all my take.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Caller. And that lucky caller waited, and I'm happy that she did, because she said that those persons were forced. We have some companies, Banks, IHPT, Paul, Sterling. These are accusations by persons calling in that their relatives are being forced to take the vaccines and they're working in these places. And I said, we just said schools will be reopened soon. Then we need to figure out what's the position with vaccination of teachers. And you know, we may think about students also, because I know right now Brickdam Secondary is locked down because a student was tested positive, and a number of schools over the past few months have been in 2 weeks lockdown every couple of minutes. So what will we do when September comes? If somebody or two persons in the school, we go back to lockdown, it's a question that needs to be answered. But I want you to answer the question about teachers before we go.
Well, you know, Randy, the thing is, there was this big prediction that school would have reopened after Easter. And so we have the prediction again that school is going to be reopened in September. But what I can share with the public is that the Guyana Teachers Union, and I'm switching caps here now. The Guyana Teachers Union will not allow at any time its members to go in harm's way. And unless we are absolutely certain that the schools are safe for our teachers first, and then our learners to be in there, we will not have a reopening of schools. And let me say to you, this whole big talk about reopening of schools, it has to be, there has to be a sitting down and a deep discussion to have schools reopen. Because when we talk about social distancing, there's no way that schools can be reopened full-fledged or regular opening of schools, because we are not in regular times. And so when we are going to put the measures in place with regards to the 6 feet apart, then many schools, for one day, you'll only be able to entertain
a few classes
and to engage. As in the nursery schools, we have to talk about what will happen in the nursery schools. And it makes absolutely no sense. And again, let me say this. We beg and we must have sense. In the nursery schools, it will make absolutely no sense to have the nursery children in school wearing their mask for 15 minutes and then they have to take it off for I don't know how long, and you can't have them there remaining in school. So what are you saying? They'll come to school for 15 minutes or half an hour? Nonsense. And there again, you'll have to have the 6 feet apart. So in the nursery schools, we might have 1 day in, 1 day out for first year, 1 day in for second year, 1 day out for second year. Absolute nonsense. The same thing in the primary schools. And Randy, you would know, we have grades 1 to 6 in the primary schools. In some schools, we have over 25 children in the classrooms. So you do the measurement and you tell me how many students we can have occupying the entire space in schools for a day. So this big talk about schools will be reopened unless this installed regime, they're going to be putting up several school buildings across this country to accommodate the entire school's population. We will not have full-fledged reopening of schools in September, because you know what? In addition to what I've said there, students and pupils are not allowed to take the vaccines. So what? If teachers take the vaccines, are you putting the children at risk? That's one. Two, for those teachers who have decided that they're not ready to take the vaccines, what are you going to do with them? Tell them to stay at home, and then you put pressure on others. So this whole big talks is just talks, like everything else. Barajaglia just like to talk. Priya just like to talk without thinking. And so this, I'm not worried about school reopening in September, because there must be systems put in place. And unless you have those systems in place, schools cannot be reopened. We would have to continue with the situation that we have right now, where we engage the 10 and 11 graders and the 5th and 6th graders. That's what we'll have in school. But everyone else will have to remain at home, and they do online teaching. They're engaged online with their teachers. What I thought the Minister of Education would have said is that for the September reopening of schools, whether we're going to do that virtually and whether we're going to do that using the mixed approach that's virtual and physical, we will seek to ensure that we have many more teachers who will be given laptops to ensure that they can function properly. We would ensure that we have much more sanitization done in schools. We are going to ensure that we speak to parents and we start printing the materials that we would need for September, so that the students who are at home, they'll have their worksheets so they can follow week after week after week. And not you're engaged in your classrooms for 5 weeks, and then in the 6th week, you have week 1 worksheet coming to you. I thought the Minister of Education would be thinking along that line. But you know what? This is what happens when we have people who just like to talk, people who just like to engage their mouths before they engage their brains. You have those kinds of foolishness coming from them. A set of irresponsible people, a set of people who don't know what they're about. All they're good for is to a big show. They jump on television to make a big show and for photo opportunities, and they air themselves out because they have the medium for it. That's what we have coming from them. But as a responsible opposition and as a responsible officer within the Guyana Teachers Union, I can safely say to you that our teachers will not be placed in harm's way because the Minister of Education decides that school will be reopened, or because Barajaglia decides that he wants schools to be reopened.
Right. That was a mouthful, and we thank you for that, MP Diana Ryan. Let me just make it easy for you. Do you agree with her?
I fully agree with her 100%. These matters here will have to take to the human rights body We have to engage the international communities on what is happening here on these breaches of human rights. It's a total breach. You understand me? If you can't show us a sign, at least a sign, right, of controlling this COVID-19, are you going to risk our children? Are you seeing the younger people now getting infected and being thinking, you can't take that risk. I would never take that risk. Not for my children at all. You understand? I will teach them home here. You understand me? So Coretta is quite right. You understand me? And she's very passionate about it, and she has all right. They have, and I like the way that they're bringing the teachers union into play, and that is what you need to do. You cannot risk them, man. No, unless you show us clearly that you have a plan. To combat this COVID-19 thing. If not, for me, is a no.
Yeah, definitely.
And Randy, let me just add to this. Many of our students, they have to go to school via public transportation. Many of our teachers have to go to school via public transportation. And you know what this illegal, irresponsible, and reckless government would have done? They have opened public transportation to full capacity, knowing that our numbers have kept skyrocketing. They have opened full capacity public transportation. They have allowed the workforce to return to work full scale, not thinking about the health of the Guyanese people. And these are the people who want to talk about who care and who concern and who thinking about the health of the people. That's why they rush out there to buy any kind of vaccine. PPP, don't let me have to say the things I want to say on this.
They're a set of hepatitis.
Now, the other thing too, Randy, we heard the nurse just talk about the storage for those vaccines, and I'm seeing all kinds of sites we are setting up for giving out vaccines. You know, we're gonna have to visit some of these sites and highlight the storage that these people are doing, so that the world can see that this illegal regime doesn't care about Guyanese people. They're risking our lives for a few dollars. And you know what we're having here? We're having a replay of Bible stories where a couple pieces of silver, but this is not a couple of pieces of silver. This is a couple of US dollars that they're making our citizens sacrificial lambs for.
Yeah, folks, I know we were supposed to be on for an hour. We have long surpassed that. We're about an hour and a half. But before we go, I just came across a piece of information that I thought my viewers and my guests, they would find very interesting. You know, that's just, I think it's a lighter note, but it's quite serious. But I'm going to share it with the viewers and you. This just coming in that we see this here. Right, Nandalal is suing Ferguson for 20 million. Wow, Nandalal is suing Ferguson for $20 million, folks. If Guyana is a real place, y'all show me where, when, how. Right, he wants her to pay 10 million general damages and another 10 million for aggravated damages. He said the 20 million lawsuit is for slander over claims he distributed ID cards on election day. Now, we know that he lost the case that he was representing Jack Deal. So I feel that this is just an opportunity for him to try and get back the money. Because I don't know what's the pressure he under from Jack Deal, because he done mess up the case. So he decided, you know what? The problem is, it's not Annette Ferguson alone said that he was distributing ID card. You know, he is allegedly distributing ID card, right? Many other persons, but of course, Annette took them to court. One case, so now they have to pay upwards of $20 million. So he feel like, you know what? If I sue her for $20 million, we can call it even, folks. That is it. And we'll talk about this more. Cheryl will be on in the ring tonight, and we'll have a conversation on this. But I just thought that we ended on that note this afternoon. It's quite laughable what we see in Guyana here. MP Coretta McDonald, MP Diana Ryan, Ram Sarup. I keep saying Ram Prasad. This is the entire show I'm struggling with this man last name. Ram Sarup. I'm going to put it in my head. MPs, thank you very much for being a part of the rush this afternoon. We went for an hour and a half. I'm sure our viewers got an opportunity to have their say, and I'm sure they enjoyed the content. Thank you very much for being a part of the show.
Randy, thank you for having us here. Oh my gosh.
Great.
So,
great. MP, you're about to say something. Go ahead.
20 million, Randy. 20 million.
Yes. 20 million. All right, then do enjoy the rest of your day.
You too, my dear. Thanks. And be safe.
Right. Folks, we had a very packed show. We had a very packed show, and we're happy that you stayed tuned. You stayed with us. Remember, you can follow us on YouTube. You can follow us on Facebook. You can follow me at Reality Refugee on Twitter or Reality_Refugee on Instagram for updates and, follow your boy. Thank you very much, folks. Do enjoy the rest of your evening. Remember, let's continue to work together for national development. My name is Randolph Critchlow. Do enjoy the rest of your evening. And, of course, be safe. Be safe.